The crowd barely noticed her as she stepped onto the court, just another name on the roster, just another girl in oversized hand-me-down sneakers. The gym echoed with the thunder of applause, but not for her. Not yet. She didn't come from a known family. She didn't play for a top team. And she sure didn't look like someone who was about to rewrite history. But in exactly 34 minutes, she'd take a shot that would silence every doubter, flip every headline, and change the game forever. Emily Reyes grew up in a town no one could find on a map unless they were already lost. It was the kind of place where the most exciting thing all year was the county fair, and where dreams, especially the big, noisy, impossible ones, got swallowed up by quiet resignation. She wasn't tall. She wasn't flashy. In fact, her coach at Westlake High used to call her the Shadow, not because of her defense, but because most people barely noticed she was there. Even her teammates rarely passed her the ball. If they did, it was usually an accident. At home, things were no easier. Her dad was between jobs again, her mom worked double shifts as a nurse, and basketball practice was squeezed in between cooking dinner for her little brother and finishing homework on a cracked laptop from the school library. There were no trainers. No private coaches. No highlight reels. Just one beat-up ball, a rusted hoop in the driveway, and a girl who refused to give up. But Emily had something else. Something people couldn't measure or label. She had grit. The kind that burned quietly. The kind that didn't need attention, only opportunity. It happened during a regional game no one expected her school to win. Westlake was up against Briar Hill, a school with a budget triple theirs and a star point guard already fielding D1 offers. Emily was, as usual, benched for most of the game. Until the third quarter. Jasmine, their starting guard, twisted her ankle during a layup and had to be carried off the court. The coach looked around, clearly panicking. All eyes turned to Emily. Some rolled. Others scoffed. "Reyes, you're up," the coach muttered, almost apologetically. She nodded. No smile. No nerves. Just walked onto the court like it was a regular Tuesday. But inside, her heart beat so hard she thought the whole gym could hear it. And then it began. Emily didn't just hold the line. She danced with it. She moved with sharp purpose, dodging defenders twice her size, reading plays with a calm maturity no one expected. And then she took her first shot, clean, high arc, nothing but net. The gym fell silent. By the end of the quarter, she had scored 12 points. But it wasn't just the scoring. It was the way she saw the court like a chessboard, outthinking players who had years more training. Even the Briar Hill coach started shouting timeouts he didn't plan for. They lost the game, but barely. And that was new. For Westlake, it felt like a win. But just as quickly as the moment came, it passed. At school, no one really talked about her performance. There were no interviews. No scouts showed up. The local paper misspelled her name. Her own teammates went back to ignoring her, focusing on players with more potential. Emily didn't complain. She just practiced harder. Each morning before school, she ran drills alone in the frost. At night, she watched game footage on her old phone, studying footwork, angles, tempo. Her family couldn't afford camps, but she emailed dozens of coaches and mentors, asking questions, attaching clips, hoping someone would see what everyone else missed. She faced rejection after rejection. "You're not quite what we're looking for. Not enough height for your position. Stats are inconsistent." But one reply changed everything. It came from a retired WNBA player, Natalie Durant, who had moved to a small town 2 hours away and occasionally offered workshops for underprivileged athletes. Emily hadn't expected a reply, but one day she got a voice memo. "I watched your clip, Emily. You remind me of myself at your age. Raw, but hungry. If you're willing to work, really work, I'll coach you. But only if you promise me this, never let anyone tell you what you can't do." Emily cried. Then she said yes. Natalie was tough. Her drills were brutal. She tore down Emily's shot form and rebuilt it from scratch. She drilled her on movement, on tempo, on game IQ. 4 months, it was just sweat, pain, and growth. By the time the state qualifiers came around, Emily wasn't just good. She was different. It all came down to one game. Westlake had clawed its way to the finals, something no one in school history had done. Their opponent? Briar Hill. The gym was packed. Reporters lined the sidelines. Colleges were watching. But as the game began, things unraveled quickly. Briar Hill's defense was suffocating. Westlake fell behind. Emily, now the starting point guard, was double-teamed, shoved, boxed in. By halftime, they were down by 18. In the locker room, everyone looked at the floor. No one had words. No one except Emily. "We didn't come this far to give up now," she said quietly, but with fire. "They've already written us off. So let's write something they didn't see coming." The second half was war. But Emily led every charge. With just 6 seconds on the clock, Westlake was down by 2. 1 shot left. The coach drew up a play, but Emily had another idea. "I want the shot," she said. The coach hesitated. Then nodded. Inbound pass. Emily cut across the top of the key, caught the ball, spun past her defender and launched a three-pointer from just beyond the arc. Time froze. The ball arced high, almost impossibly so. The entire gym held its breath. Swish. Game. Over. The crowd exploded. Reporters rushed the court. Her teammates lifted her in the air. And for the first time, really the first time, everyone saw her. But it wasn't just about winning. It was what came after. The shot broke a state record for longest buzzer beater in a championship game. It went viral. National news picked it up. Colleges that once ignored her now sent full-ride offers. But Emily stayed grounded. She chose a school that offered both a strong basketball program and scholarships for kids like her, first generation, overlooked, underestimated. And every time someone called her an overnight success, she smiled and said the same thing. This shot? It took years. Everyone ignored her, until she took the shot that shattered a record. But the real story? It wasn't the shot. It was the silence she endured. The work no one saw. The belief that never left her, even when everyone else did. Because sometimes, greatness isn't loud. Sometimes, it waits quietly. Until it's ready to echo forever.